Hey friends, Frankie and Brad here in the kitchen where we cook music. Today, Brad and I are going to chat a little bit about how we listen to music today versus the way we listen to music in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and forward. Because it is different. We don't listen to music today, and young people don't listen to music today the way we did. Uh, Kick us off, Brad.
I was born in the 50s, really started getting interested in music in the late 50s. So I remember as a kid, I loved going in the car. When mom and dad said, we're going somewhere, I was like, I can listen to the radio. Because that was the main way of listening to music back then if you weren't watching the Ed Sullivan Show
Yeah,
on Sunday night.
that's true.
Um, the problem being, there was not a whole lot of rock and roll. It was actually just beginning in the 50s.
That's true.
Um, a lot of the music we had to listen to was the old crooners that our parents listened to.
Perry Como.
Exactly. Andy Williams, all those guys.
Yeah.
Um, there were some good ones. Ray Charles, I can remember hearing some Ray Charles songs
The Platters.
that really, those kind of groups, they were evolving. And, and I don't want to sound racist or anything, but I felt like the black musicians back then were better than they are now. You had more black groups that were putting out just incredible music.
That's true. The black artists in the 50s and 60s were the rhythm and blues, and then it got labeled soul. And to what you are saying, some of the most amazing vocalists that have ever appeared in the histories of rock and roll were some of those
Early
those
blues,
soul groups.
the blues legends that,
Sam
incredible.
Cooke.
Yeah.
You know, truly great music, and I think today more of the black music is prone to rap
And hip hop type.
And a little less of a check out my really great voice, which is what you had back in our
then,
day.
yes. And they were also really good songwriters,
Mm-hmm.
which I feel like all the way across the board, I don't care what color you are, you're not as good as a songwriter as they were back in the 60s in particular, where everything exploded.
That's certainly an arguable topic.
Yes, but listening to music back when we were young was mainly the radio. I've said this before. I saw Joe Walsh when he was live at Daryl's, and he quoted, "The internet ruined music." It took away all the mystique that bands had when you picked up that album cover and went, who are these guys? And nothing can create more imagination than your mind. It can draw pictures that reality will never draw. I'll never forget seeing the first album cover of Alice Cooper, Love It to Death, and thinking, who in the hell are these guys?
Right.
It turned out they were just regular guys like us, but they created a mystique just from their album cover.
I know when I was very young, my mom and dad, numerous times in my younger life, they run restaurants, and their restaurants always had jukeboxes.
But there's another way to hear music.
So I was exposed to the 45 world, and I had a complete 45 collection before I ever went to grade school. The Elvis records and the Chuck Berry, but like you said, driving in your car, particularly when we got 16, where where we could use Mom's car to go out, on Friday night, Saturday night, and ride around with the date, listening to music. It just didn't get no better than that. Windows down, wasn't no air conditioning back then. Riding up and down the boulevard listening to your tunes. Today,
Well, also, if you think back then, 45s were a huge seller.
that's true.
And just having that top 40 radio every week where there's maybe a handful of new songs would hit every week, and that kept the 45 business going.
Yeah, you had the top 100, the Billboard 100, and then you had the Hot 100, which the Hot 100 was based on jukebox plays.
Right.
Every time a jukebox play, it would make a little digit to where when the guy come around to change the records, he would supposedly record the play. Of course, one of the issues with that is a lot of the jukebox companies were owned by the mob, and they would fudge the numbers, and they could make hits like that. So there was a big difference in the Billboard 100 and the Hot 100, but they were both out and both very popular. But
You had your legendary disc jockeys like Case and Kasem,
yeah,
Wolfman Jack. I mean, they all fueled that fire of listening to all these new songs
yeah.
that, face it, kids don't listen to the radio anymore.
Alan Freed, he was the first guy to get busted for payola. He was huge in the 50s, but you're right. You actually had disc jockeys that were rock stars.
No, yes.
Literally. I know my grandkids today. They're all. They download their music. They listen to Spotify, and they tend to do short takes of songs. They don't listen to a song all the way through. They'll a little bit of this and then they'll run to that. It's like a shorter attention span. I think the digital world has
Taken over.
has created a shorter attention span. I know in my later life, I become employed in the computer world, and I like a lot of the modern day technology. I know, though, to your credit and to something, you said Joe Walsh said, there are a lot of performers that feel like the internet hurt record sales, the record companies. What artists are today are not what artists were in our time, and something we've openly discussed. Will there ever be a big band like the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, the Led Zeppelin?
Yeah.
Will they ever be that mega stadium band that becomes not just the flavor of the day, but an iconic band that's respected 20, 30 years later? I question that. But give us your thoughts, give us your ideas. Anything to add, Brad?
No, I really miss those days of the radio introducing new songs, new groups. I think it was just a better time for music.
Yeah.
Today it's nothing like that. And like we were talking, it probably will never be like that again.
I still, in my cars, not my wife's car, but in both of my cars, I still have CD players because I physically like to listen to both new and old. And the radio today, most of the stations are the classic rock, tried and true. You don't have a lot of stations that play new music, and if you do, it's normally not the genre that I prefer.
Exactly, yeah. Record companies are looking for those single artist performers who are not normally are not playing the type of music I would prefer. Not to say that they're bad singers, they're certainly not, but with the disappearing rock band, it's hard to. I'm kind of like you. I like the CD player in my car where I can listen to the older stuff that I grew up with.
I know most of the music I listen to are the YouTubers and I order their albums and a lot of times I'll pay a little extra to get the CD and the cover versus the download version just to physically have something that I can touch and have that old nostalgia feeling.
Yeah, I couldn't download and just have a song on a device. That doesn't work for me.
I have done it when I didn't have a choice, but for the most part, I do like to still read
The liner notes.
the covers, yeah. And I have to say I miss those great old big albums, particularly those double albums you could fold up. But
I guess I feel sorry more for the younger crowd growing up. They're not going to be able to experience that.
yeah, it is a changing world. I know I don't try to fight it as much as I once did. I had an employee tell me years ago. She looked at me and said, "Frankie, you've had your day. Now get the hell out of the way." And I think I just bought into that. You know, she smacked some sense into me. But anyway, we're going to end it with that. Give us a couple of thumbs up. Subscribe to our site. Give us your comments. If you disagree, let us know. And as always, have a great day.